Jack's fingers danced over the keyboard, a familiar rhythm that echoed his relentless pursuit of deadlines and deliverables. The soft glow of the computer screen illuminated his furrowed brow, each email and report pulling him deeper into a world where numbers and data eclipsed the warmth of family connections. He prided himself on being a dedicated provider. Yet the reality was that his teenage son, Ethan, often felt like a shadow in the background of Jack's bustling life. The boys' laughter, once a vibrant soundtrack to their home, had faded into an occasional chuckle, a far cry from the joyful banter they once shared. Before we dive deeper into Jack's journey, I invite you to take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your support is invaluable, and the only way we can continue sharing these touching stories of family and resilience with others. Every subscription helps us reach more people, allowing us to spread awareness and connection. So please take a moment to hit that subscribe button now. As Jack navigated through the cluttered desktop, he noticed a stray email in Ethan's account, one he didn't recognize. Curiosity piqued. He hesitated, feeling a twinge of guilt wash over him. He had always respected Ethan's privacy, but the chaos of his own life had dulled his instincts to check in on his son. A fleeting thought crossed his mind. Could this be important? With a few swift clicks, Jack found himself peering into Ethan's hidden world. What he uncovered sent shockwaves through his core. The emails were laden with raw emotion, each word a testament to Ethan's struggles with anxiety and depression. Jack's heart raced as he read about sleepless nights, the weight of unspoken fears, and the profound loneliness that had enveloped his son. These were secrets Ethan had kept tucked away, hidden beneath the facade of a teenager navigating high school and friendships, but also grappling with an invisible battle that no one could see. The realization hit Jack like a tidal wave. He had been so absorbed in his work that he had neglected the very essence of what mattered most: his family. Guilt clawed at him as he replayed moments in his mind. The hurried dinners, the missed soccer games, the absence of genuine conversations. He had created a chasm between them, one that had grown wider with each passing day. In that moment, staring at the screen filled with Ethan's struggles, Jack felt the stirrings of a profound awakening. This was not just about emails or privacy. It was about the urgent need to reconnect with his son, to bridge the divide that had silently formed between them. A fire ignited within him, one that compelled him to take responsibility for the emotional distance that had come to define their relationship. Determined to make a change, Jack closed the laptop and took a deep breath. He needed to approach this with sensitivity, to show Ethan that he was there, ready to listen and support him. But how? The thought of confronting the situation filled him with trepidation. What if Ethan felt betrayed? What if he pushed his son further away by acknowledging the very thing he had been trying to hide? With a mix of dread and hope, Jack decided to set aside time to talk with Ethan. He envisioned a casual evening, perhaps over pizza, where he could broach the subject gently. But first, he needed to prepare himself. He needed to understand what his son was going through, so he turned back to the emails. Hours slipped by as Jack immersed himself in Ethan's words, each line revealing layers of pain and resilience. He learned about the panic attacks that struck without warning, the social gatherings that felt like insurmountable mountains, and the suffocating pressure of expectations. The more he read, the more he felt a sense of urgency to act. He could no longer stand by as Ethan waged his silent war. As night fell and the house grew quiet, Jack's resolve solidified. He would not let another day pass without reaching out. He envisioned the future, one where he could be the father Ethan needed, where they could share their vulnerabilities and rebuild their bond. With a heavy heart but a clear purpose, he made a plan to approach Ethan the next day. Morning arrived slowly, the sun creeping through the window, casting a warm glow on the breakfast table. Jack felt a knot in his stomach as he prepared pancakes, the familiar scent filling the air with a sense of nostalgia. He hoped that the breakfast ritual would help ease the tension he felt. When Ethan finally appeared, bleary-eyed and half awake, Jack offered him a smile, trying to hide the anxiety bubbling beneath the surface. "Hey buddy, how about some pancakes?" Jack asked, trying to keep his tone light. Ethan nodded, taking a seat at the table. He glanced at his father, sensing the unease that hung in the air, but said nothing. As they ate in relative silence, Jack's heart raced. He felt the weight of the words he needed to say pressing against his chest, but he struggled to find the right moment. Finally, as Ethan pushed his plate away, Jack took a deep breath and summoned his courage. "Ethan, can we talk for a minute?" Ethan looked up, surprise flickering in his eyes. "Sure, Dad. What's up?" Jack hesitated, searching for the right words. I stumbled upon some of your emails yesterday. I didn't mean to invade your privacy, but I'm really sorry to hear what you've been going through." The moment hung in the air, heavy with unspoken fears and expectations. Ethan's expression shifted from surprise to a guarded look, as if he were bracing for impact. "You read my emails?" he asked quietly, his voice edged with a mix of anger and hurt. "I did," Jack admitted, feeling the sting of his son's reaction. "And I shouldn't have, but I want you to know that I care, and I want to help if you'll let me." Ethan's eyes flickered with uncertainty, wrestling with the vulnerability of opening up to his father. Jack could see the internal struggle playing out, and it broke his heart. This was the moment where everything could change, where they could begin to mend the fractures in their relationship or deepen them further. In that charged silence, Jack knew they stood on the brink of something profound. The journey ahead would be challenging, but he was prepared to fight for his son, to learn and grow alongside him. It was time to step into the light and face the shadows that had lingered for too long. Jack's heart raced as he watched Ethan's expression shift, the emotions swirling in his son's eyes like a storm waiting to break. The tension in the kitchen was palpable, a mixture of fear, anger, and an underlying hope that flickered somewhere in the depths of their shared silence. "Dad, I can't believe you went through my stuff," Ethan finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. His gaze dropped to the table, where remnants of breakfast lay untouched. Jack could see the wheels turning in Ethan's mind, and he could feel the walls rising, a familiar barrier that had formed over years of unspoken words and unmet expectations. "I know it was wrong," Jack replied, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "But I promise I didn't do it to invade your privacy. I didn't realize how much you were struggling. I wish I had known sooner." Ethan looked up, his eyes reflecting a mixture of hurt and confusion. "You didn't have to read my emails to find out. You could have just talked to me." Jack felt a stab of guilt at the truth of Ethan's words. He had become so consumed with work and the demands of life that he had neglected the most important task of all, being present for his son. "You're right," Jack admitted, his voice thick with emotion. "I've been so caught up in my own world that I didn't see yours. I want to do better, Ethan. I really do." Ethan's expression softened just slightly, but Jack could tell that the hurt was still fresh. It's hard, Dad. I didn't want you to worry. I thought I could handle it myself." Jack felt a pang of sorrow for the weight his son had carried alone, a burden that should never have been his to bear. "You don't have to handle everything by yourself. I'm here for you. I want to help you through this. We're a team, remember?" The word team seemed to resonate with Ethan. For a moment, Jack saw a flicker of hope in his son's eyes, as if a bridge was slowly starting to form between their worlds. "I guess I just didn't want you to see me as weak," Ethan confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. "Ethan," Jack said firmly, leaning forward in his seat to emphasize his sincerity. "There's nothing weak about asking for help. In fact, it takes a lot of courage to admit when you're struggling. I've learned that the hard way myself. You have to know that it's okay to feel how you feel." Ethan's shoulders relaxed slightly, the tension that had knotted between them beginning to ease. "I didn't want to burden you. You've got enough on your plate with work and everything else." Jack shook his head, the conviction in his heart growing stronger. "You are not a burden. I want to share your burdens with you. I want to know who you are, what you're going through, and how I can be there for you. I've missed so much of your life, and it's time I changed that." Ethan looked at his father, searching his eyes for sincerity. After what felt like an eternity, he finally nodded, albeit hesitantly. "Okay, I guess I could try to talk about it, just not all at once, okay?" "Of course," Jack replied, relief washing over him. "We can take our time. I'm here whenever you're ready." The atmosphere in the kitchen began to shift, the heaviness lifting just a bit. Jack felt a sense of hope blooming inside him, like a seed pushing through the soil after a long winter. How about we start with something small? Maybe you can tell me about your day at school? Or what's been on your mind lately? Ethan shrugged, still tentative but willing to engage. School's just it's okay, I guess. I've been trying to keep up with my classes, but it's overwhelming sometimes. I feel like I'm drowning in assignments. Jack nodded, encouraging him to continue. That sounds tough. What do you think makes it feel overwhelming? Is it the amount of work? Or is there something else? Ethan hesitated for a moment, then spoke slowly, as if testing the waters. It's like, I feel like everyone around me is doing fine, and I'm just barely keeping my head above water. I don't want to let anyone down, especially you. Jack's heart ached at Ethan's admission. You could never let me down, Ethan. You're my son, and I love you no matter what. You don't have to be perfect for me. I just want you to be happy and healthy. Ethan looked at his father, the openness in Jack's voice creating a space for vulnerability that he had longed for. I guess I just don't want to disappoint you. You work so hard for us, and I feel like my struggles are just selfish. Jack leaned back in his chair, contemplating his son's words. Let me tell you something important. Struggling is not selfish. It's part of being human. We all have our battles, and they don't diminish our worth or the love we have for each other. If anything, sharing our struggles can bring us closer together. Ethan's brow furrowed as he absorbed his father's words. But what if you don't understand? I might not understand everything right away, but I promise to try. Just like you're starting to open up to me now, I want to be open to hearing you. I want us to build that understanding together. Slowly, Ethan's guard began to lower further, the flicker of hope growing into a small flame. Okay, I'll try to share more. I don't know how to start. Jack smiled gently, feeling a warmth spread through him. You can start by telling me about a moment this week that felt particularly hard or something that made you anxious. We'll take it one step at a time. Ethan took a deep breath, nodding as he considered his father's request. All right, well, there was this presentation I had to do in class. I've always hated speaking in front of people, and when it was my turn, I froze. My mind went blank, and I could feel everyone staring at me. I just wanted to disappear. Jack listened intently, nodding in understanding. That sounds incredibly tough. I can only imagine how intimidating it must have felt. But you made it through, right? That's something to be proud of. Ethan managed a small smile, the tension in his shoulders easing just a bit more. Yeah, I guess. I just wish I could be more confident. Confidence comes with practice, Jack said, eager to encourage him. And it's something we can work on together. Maybe we can practice presentations at home, just the two of us. I'll be your audience, and we can build up your comfort level. Ethan looked thoughtful. That could actually help. I'll even let you pick the topic, Jack added playfully, hoping to lighten the mood. How about a presentation on your favorite video game? I'd love to hear you talk about it. Ethan chuckled, the laughter breaking the lingering tension. Okay, that sounds fun. As they began to talk more openly, Jack realized how much he had missed these moments of connection with Ethan. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, determined to be the father his son needed. The journey ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges and moments of discomfort. But as they navigated this path together, Jack felt hopeful that they could rebuild their relationship, brick by brick. Dad, Ethan said suddenly, his tone serious. Thanks for listening. I didn't expect you to care this much. Jack's heart swelled with pride and love. Always, Ethan. You are my world. We're in this together, remember? As the words hung in the air, Jack knew that this was just the beginning of a transformative journey for both of them. Over the days to come, they would face tough conversations, moments of vulnerability, and the heavy lifting of emotional honesty. Yet in that kitchen filled with the warmth of pancakes and possibility, Jack felt a new chapter unfolding, a chance to rewrite their story, one filled with understanding, compassion, and the unwavering bond of family. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to comment from where you are hearing this amazing story. Your thoughts matter, and they help spread awareness about the struggles we all face. As the days turned into weeks, Jack made it a point to carve out time for Ethan amidst his busy work schedule. They established a routine that included their presentation practice sessions, where Ethan would share topics of interest, ranging from video games to his favorite books. Each session became a safe space for Ethan to express himself, gradually building his confidence. Jack watched with pride as his son transformed, discovering his voice while allowing his own vulnerability to shine through. One evening, after a particularly engaging session about a new game release, Ethan paused, his expression shifting from excitement to seriousness. "Dad," he said, his voice steady but soft, "I feel like I can actually talk to you now. It's been nice." Jack's heart swelled at Ethan's admission. "I'm glad to hear that. I want you to feel comfortable coming to me about anything." Ethan took a deep breath, as if gearing up to share something significant. I think I want to talk to someone professional about everything I've been feeling. It's just been really hard to manage alone, and I don't want to keep hiding." Jack felt a rush of relief mixed with admiration. "That's an incredibly brave step, Ethan. I'll support you in any way you need. We can look into therapists together." Ethan nodded, grateful for the support. "Thanks, Dad. I really appreciate it." The weight that had settled in Jack's chest began to lift. He could see the changes in Ethan, the flicker of hope that replaced uncertainty. They had embarked on a journey of healing together, and it was as if the chasm that had once divided them was narrowing with each heartfelt conversation. One Saturday afternoon, they decided to take a break from their usual routine and go for a hike in a nearby nature reserve. The sun filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the path as they walked side by side, the air fresh with the scent of pine. Jack felt a sense of peace enveloping them, a reminder of the beauty that existed outside the walls of their home. "Isn't this nice?" Jack said, glancing at Ethan, who was taking in the scenery with wide eyes. "Just us out here, away from everything?" Ethan smiled, a genuine smile that reminded Jack of the little boy he used to know. "Yeah, it really is. I like spending time with you like this." As they reached a viewpoint overlooking a valley, Jack suggested they take a break. They settled onto a large rock, the world sprawling before them in a breathtaking panorama. "You know, there's something about being out here that makes me realize how important it is to connect with each other," Jack said, his voice thoughtful. "Life can get so busy, but moments like this remind me of what really matters." Ethan nodded, his gaze still fixed on the horizon. "I feel that too. It feels good to talk and not have everything bottled up inside." Jack watched as Ethan breathed in the fresh air, a sense of tranquility washing over him. "I want to make sure we keep this connection, no matter how busy life gets. You're important to me, Ethan, more than anything else." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, allowing the serenity of nature to envelop them. Jack felt a sense of gratitude for the opportunity to reconnect with his son, realizing how much he had missed during those years of focus on work. Later that week, as they began researching therapists, Jack felt a surge of hope for the future. He recognized that the journey ahead would require patience and commitment, but he was ready. As they navigated this new chapter, Jack promised himself to remain present, to prioritize their relationship, and to foster an environment where Ethan felt safe sharing his feelings. One evening, as they sat together on the couch, Ethan turned to Jack with a look of determination. "Dad, I've decided to reach out to a therapist. I think it's time to start talking about everything." Jack felt a wave of pride wash over him. "That's an amazing decision, Ethan. I'm so proud of you. And remember, I'm here for you every step of the way." With each passing day, they continued to build upon the foundation of understanding and support they had begun to forge. Jack found joy in the little things, sharing meals, discussing school projects, and even attending Ethan's soccer games. He realized that these moments, often overshadowed by work, were the true essence of family. As the weeks turned into months, Jack and Ethan developed a rhythm of openness and trust. They navigated both the highs and the lows together, Ethan's therapy sessions becoming a regular topic of conversation. Jack became more attuned to Ethan's needs, learning to listen without judgment and offer support when it was needed most. One evening, after a particularly challenging day for Ethan, Jack noticed his son's demeanor was off. "You okay?" he asked, concern lacing his tone. Ethan shrugged, his expression reflective. "I just had a tough session today. I feel like I'm unraveling some things I've kept inside for a long time." Jack moved closer, placing a reassuring hand on Ethan's shoulder. "It's okay to feel that way. Sometimes, unpacking those feelings can be overwhelming. Just remember, you're not alone in this." Ethan met his father's gaze, and for the first time, he saw not just a parent, but a partner in his journey. "Thanks, Dad. I really appreciate you being here for me." As they shared stories and memories, Jack realized that the connection they had built was resilient, forged through honesty and love. Their relationship was no longer defined by silence, but rather by a newfound understanding that embraced vulnerability. One night, as they sat together watching a movie, Ethan turned to Jack with a thoughtful expression. I've been thinking, I want to help others who might be struggling like I was. Maybe I could volunteer or something." Jack felt a swell of admiration for his son's empathy. "That's an incredible idea, Ethan. You have so much to offer, and sharing your experience could really make a difference for someone else." Ethan smiled, his eyes brightening at the thought. "I really want to help, Dad. I want others to know they're not alone." In that moment, Jack recognized the profound transformation that had taken place between them. What had once been a relationship marked by distance and misunderstanding had blossomed into a bond rich with compassion, understanding, and shared purpose. They were no longer just father and son. They were allies in a journey of healing and growth. As they continued to navigate life together, Jack felt a renewed sense of hope for both their futures. He was committed to remaining present, to celebrating the small victories, and to ensuring that their family remained a safe haven for open communication. The road ahead would undoubtedly have its challenges, but with each conversation, each shared experience, and each act of love, Jack and Ethan were steadily rewriting their story, one that celebrated resilience, connection, and the profound strength of family.